Welcome to the Main Slate Mashup GPP edition hosted by Season-Long DFS. As per normal, I am Jamie and that way it's Rich. I'm going to get it right sometime, mate. I'm going to get it right sometime. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well. It's I actually had a day off today, which sounded like it was going to be great because originally I was going to take it off to look after my daughter, but then we ended up putting her in nursery for a few days extra. So I was like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. Like, I'm going to have a day by myself. Like, my wife was due to go to the office. And then she mentioned, oh, have you still got that day off? And I said, yes, stupidly. So today I've been tidying out the garage. Live the dream, mate. Mate, it's not even. It's beyond that. Just do what I'm told, mate. Just absolutely just do what I'm told.
Happy wife, happy life, isn't it?
Well, happier wife. So yeah, that was what I did today. So great.
Lovely. Let's get out of the way now. Where can we find you on the socials?
KFantasy_sports, wherever we have socials, and the website is kingfantasysports.com.
And your TikTok is
non-existent.
Still haven't signed up for one, have you?
I'm going to sign up for one this week, I reckon, just to shut you up.
You said that last week.
Yeah, but I thought then you'd forget about it. But no,
mate, it's the first thing that is top of my sheet. Ask Rich about TikTok. K Fantasy Sports TikTok.
I might sign up to it now just to shut you up.
Oh, mate, if I can get you to sign up to it and actually do something like that, that'd be great. I'm going to do it. Screw it. Do it, mate. Do it. As I said at the start, this is a GPP edition of the Main Slate Mashup. Let's stop having woman's hour or man's hour, as we call it. It was only like 40 minutes this week, which is good, Rich.
Yeah, it was good.
A 40-minute chat about life and petrol and
fuel shortages.
Fuel
shortages.
Not shortage. First of all, not fuel driver shortage.
It's a driver shortage, and if you are one of those, normally we want listeners, but if you're one of those people who went out and panicked and queued up for hours,
say what you think, Rich. Call them what you want to.
£5 or £6 worth of fuel so you could get up to a full tank. I don't want to hear from you anymore. You're done.
Unsubscribe.
I don't want to deal with it. Okay. Stop being so selfish. A lot of people are working from home now. You don't need to travel. Don't worry about it. I'm not panicked about it. You shouldn't be panicked. Well, maybe you should because you need it for your day job.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I mess around with spreadsheets all day. I'm good.
Most people, mate, who are filling up, you'll find will probably be, as I thought was said around my area in a tweet, that they need their full tank of fuel to go to Pilates and go and meet up with a friend for a coffee and most of the cars will probably be sitting on the driveway for most of the week. Just don't fill up. If you've got half a tank of fuel, you don't need to fill up unless, I'll be selfish, you're someone like me who drives 80 miles a day and uses unleaded for all my machinery. But even then, I haven't filled up because I know I can get through till tomorrow, and then I've got a couple of days off, so I'll sort it out over the weekend.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed.
People just need to chill out.
Chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Let's move on from fuel because we're all bored of it. We are all bored of it, and let's talk about something exciting. Let's talk about our GPP lineups for this week 4 of the Main Slate on DraftKings. Rich, who is your quarterback?
Let me just check. He's playing the Falcons. Washington. So it was always Heineke. That was the comedic effect. Heineke, 5,900. Yes, he is going to be chalky AF, but I'm all for it. because Atlanta are still Atlanta.
Yeah, defense hasn't looked great.
I mean, it's turned up on time.
That's positive.
Every single game, they're there for kickoff. So they've done that. They've nailed that. Outside of that, not that much.
If there is a small positive, we've got Terrell and Sheffield back this week. So that's a positive, but that's really kind of that's reaching. I'm reaching. I'm trying to look at something positive.
I was going to say, it's like you really have to want to see it, don't you? With that,
oh yeah,
it's like, oh, we've got this good news. Is it good? I don't know.
Terrell's all right. Terrell's sorry, AJ Terrell's pretty good. Not brilliant. He's getting there. He's getting there. So you got Taylor. Is it Taylor? It's Taylor Heineke, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do I think Tyler?
I
don't know. They both work.
They both work. They're both T.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Right. My quarterback. I'm going with Josh Allen. 8,000. Playing at home against the Texans. He played all right last week, I think. Was it 40 DraftKings points? The first couple of games for him he looked a little bit off. Last week, Josh Allen was back. This week, he's playing the Texans. I didn't consider Allen last week, and he was the first guy that I wanted this week. I don't care if it's a blowout by the middle of the third quarter. Josh Allen will have basically done everything for him. They're not going to run the ball. They're just going to pass. They're basically what the Falcons used to be before Arthur Smith turned Matt Ryan into Alex Smith.
Yeah, they're like the Falcons are, but like with a better defense and better attacking weapons.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Josh Allen. Don't worry about it being a bit of a blowout. They're going to just keep piling the points on. So yeah, 8,000. I'm happy to pay up, and you can stack him, and it's not going to blow your budget really, even if you want to stack him. Who's your running back one, mate?
Pay up for the milk float.
Can I pause? Can I pause you there for a second?
Yeah.
Because me being the host, I'm going to admit I've kind of screwed up a little bit. Just a little bit there. So before you tell me you're running back one, I want to know the quarterbacks who nearly made it, who you were considering.
I didn't really consider that many others because I actually I set up a lot of my lineup, and then I was like, I want to play against the Falcons. So actually, for me, I just went Heineke, and I know he's probably going to be really chalky.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it. I mean, outside of that, I was somewhat tempted to go with like Stafford against Arizona. I think he could be in with having a good game. Bridgewater is also interesting.
Yeah.
But for me, it was Heineke. That was kind of it for me.
That's fair. Like you, I considered Stafford 7,000 against Cardinals. I said last week I don't think the Cardinals defense is as good as it had played, and I still don't think it is. That Rams offense is purring like a Bugatti. So I think he's a strong play. And also I considered Matt Ryan on the other side. Of your play, Heineke, he's 5,400 going up against the Redskins. And I'm just going to read you something from Tom Strachan, if you haven't already seen it, about the Washington defense. Basically, what it is Washington love to stop the run. They're pretty damn good at stopping the run against the pass, they are fecking awful this year. So here we go. Washington. I'm literally going to read exactly what this is, and I will credit Tom for it. Certain situations are worth targeting DFS and fantasy football. This game ticks boxes. Washington is a pass funnel defense, ranking 12th best against rush attempts, while only ranking 30th in the league against quarterbacks. They're garbage, and that is part of Tom's Best Ball UK stack of the week. You can find Tom at Best Ball UK NFL. So check out his work; it's great. But yeah, if there is a week for the Falcons to finally, I don't know, Matt Ryan to actually be allowed to be Matt Ryan, because what we've seen isn't what Matt Ryan is for me. This is the week. Washington defense is a pass funnel, basically. So yeah, he was a consideration. And
I was actually just looking at their schedule as well, just to make sure it wasn't one of those things where it's massively skewed by who they've played. So like Baltimore, they didn't look that good against tight ends, but week 1 they faced against Darren Waller, and week 2 it was Travis Kelce. Yeah. So it's somewhat skewed, but actually when you look at it, Chargers, Giants, and then the Bills last week, it's not an anomaly. It's not a mix of teams that makes you go, oh, they went against the league's best, So
exactly. Okay, so your running back 1 is
the milk float, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're talking about anomalies and things like that, like the New York Jets seem like they're really good against running wide receivers. The reason is they are just god awful against running backs. So why would you pass it if you can? Why would you put up the risk of passing it if you can have the security of running it? Derrick Henry is this offense. AJ Brown out. Julio was sat on the sidelines for a while as well, but from what
he's still going to be sitting on the sidelines, I reckon, this week. This is the concern for me.
You see, from what I saw, it was more of the fact that they kind of thought that the game was already in hand, and they didn't need to risk him with AJ Brown already looking like he was going to miss. But I mean,
he's not practicing, but Julio doesn't practice anyway, so you can just wipe that off and go. Don't be concerned about it. If Julio is 70%, he plays.
Either way, Derrick Henry is this offense, and the New York Jets cannot stop a running back. This saved their life, and they faced Carolina, the Patriots, and Denver. So no barnstorming kind of running backs there. I mean, Christian McCaffrey week 1, but outside of that, nothing that's really mind blowing. So I think, good luck. I mean, we could see Derrick Henry hit the bonus for, is it? I think it's 100 yards rushing. Is it?
I'd be thinking 200 yards this week.
I think he'll be knocking high hundreds with multiple touchdowns as well. So
he's at the moment he's pretty much as safe as it's going to be as you can get, isn't it?
Yeah, it's whether he's in like both times of my lineup, so cash or GPP, because I just think he is like just uber safe, and I think I don't want to miss out on that, because I think trying to be too cute and missing out on him. I don't know what you've done here with your GPP, but if I think like if you're missing out on him, then you're missing out on something that could really hurt the rest of your lineup.
Yeah, Henry was a serious consideration for me. I haven't got Derrick Henry. My running back 1 is Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
So Henry's he's 80. Is he 88?
Yeah, 8,800.
I'm just trying to load up my whatever it is isn't working. 800. Kamara is 8,400 going up against the Giants. The Giants, the first 3 games supposed to be their easy part of their schedule.
Mm.
And it was starting to get harder. They're 0-3. Their defense hasn't looked great. And in fairness, the New Orleans Saints offense hasn't looked great. But the thing that stood out for me last week was the amount of touches the Falcons running backs got in the passing game. And we all know what Alvin Kamara is to the New Orleans Saints. He is basically their offense while there is no Michael Thomas. He did all right last week, 20 points, 24 attempts on the ground. He only saw 4 targets, but I think that if the Saints are going to win this, which they should, it's going to be through Alvin Kamara. I thought Henry would be, his ownership would be more than Kamara's. Is there a similar price? So I kind of thought, I'm going to pivot a little bit, save a bit of money, and go with Alvin Kamara going up against the Giants at 8,400. So we'll see if it pays off. Who's your running back 2, buddy?
David Montgomery.
Oh, okay.
5,800 going up against Detroit. I think this Detroit defense is not really that good at stopping the run.
Yeah.
And as a result, I think I was quite happy to go with the workhorse for Chicago. The starter of who's going to be the QB, that is a little bit of a worry.
You kind of hope it's not Justin Fields, don't you?
I'm not really too sure, because part of me kind of hopes it is, because I think he is the better quarterback, but part of me thinks, well, he's still got a lot of growing pains. So I don't really know where I sit with it. But either way, I put him in my lineup, RB2. I think those questions and the fact Chicago didn't look good at all last week will mean that he has probably lower ownership than he probably should in this matchup.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that, mate. I think you are probably right. I have gone. My running back 2. I've done it. I'm here now. I've gone with Cordero Patterson. 4,900 for the Falcons.
Okay.
Going up against Washington. I genuinely couldn't care less if he touches the ball in the running game. That's not why I'm playing Patterson. Patterson, as we said a couple of weeks ago, Patterson is a thing. Whether or not we want to believe it or we want to, just he is.
He is, yeah.
He's touched the ball. So last week he touched the ball 13 times, 7 rushing attempts, 6 receptions. The week before, 12. The week before, 9. So it's going up every single week. And he's 8 points, 23 points, 16 points. I know it sounds really silly, but he's a big guy. Is Arthur Smith trying to does he kind of see him as his slightly smaller version of Derrick Henry?
I just think, in all honesty, I think it's just he's an electric kind of player. And I'm not saying that he is Tyreek Hill, so don't hear what I'm not saying. But
you're saying he's Devin Hester, aren't you?
He's the type of player that you get the ball in his hands and just say, like, just go for it. Like, just try and find a gap.
He can juke past someone, or he's big enough to truck him.
Yeah, exactly. So go for it.
While his price is 4,900, and while the Falcons are using him a fair bit, I'm gonna play him. I think he outperforms his value. Passing game. If he gets 8 targets again, love it. Absolutely love it. Who are the running backs who you considered? Who are the other ones you like this week?
So there are a few. So I kind of thought about having Antonio Gibson against Atlanta.
Yeah, I considered Gibson. He's 6,100.
So I opted against him, obviously. Then I kind of thought about going Zach Moss because
You say that like it's so painful.
It's just because I know as soon as if I think he's going to be a thing, in DFS, then he'll automatically start going off, as in not performing. But the way they're using him in and around the red zone is really interesting. Like, he actually is just he's one touch behind Josh Allen now in the season in the red zone.
I just don't think he's very good.
I think he's good at what he does. It's kind of one of those things that you used to see with the Patriots, where they had LeGarrette Blount, where he's just right. We won't see him anywhere else in the field, but once we're within the 10, we'll see him.
Yeah, it doesn't make Blount a very good football player.
No, but
no,
you're good at what you do.
Yeah. I agree on that. I just don't think Zach Moss is. I think Devin Singletary's a better running back than Zach Moss is. That's just me.
Yeah, I think he's a better out-and-out running back, but I think, the way they use Zach Moss, it's exactly what he's good at.
Yeah. Well, and if your coaching staff are doing that with players, and it's kind of what the Falcons are doing with Patterson. They know what he's good at, and they're just going to use it. So yeah, he's 5,300 at home against the Texans. Anybody else?
No.
So it's Gibson and Moss for you. I considered Henry, as I said, 800 going up against the Jets. Decided to pivot, save a little bit more, say 400, go with Kamara instead. Jamal Williams. He's kind of feels similar-ish to what you're saying about Zach Moss. It's a split in Detroit between him and DeAndre Swift. He scored a touchdown last week. He scored a touchdown in week 1. He sees targets. He sees rush attempts. They're pretty much always going to be playing from behind. So you're going to get those PPR points. And the interesting thing was Swift tried to pound it in from the goal line. I think it was a 1 yard or 2 yard line last week and failed. And then they got Jamal Williams in and he didn't fail. So I'm interested to see if that is something that they'll do going forward, as in Williams will be the guy that will punch the ball in for touchdowns, close yardage. He's 5,300 going up against the Bears. The Lions are usually, maybe not in this game, playing from behind. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was someone that I considered. Also, Najee at 6,800 against Green Bay. You've got no Johnson, Deontay. You've got no Juju. He's basically the number 1 passing weapon and the number 1 rushing weapon. He saw like 19 targets last week. 19 targets. Ben doesn't seem to be able to throw the ball more than 10 yards past stick. So
I don't know if it's even that. I think part of it is just the fact that he's trying to stay alive for as long as he can to let the play develop, and then he's like, oh, okay, right, well, all I have is a dump off. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, he was someone I considered. I think he'll be fairly safe, but have that big upside. If he sees another, I made 10 plus targets. Someone's got to see the targets. Deontay Johnson isn't there, right?
Yep.
They're not going to be going to Claypool. Who's your wide receiver 1?
Scary Terry.
Okay. Like it.
Going up against Atlanta, the Washington offense is actually really easy to work out in the passing game. Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas.
Oh, your best buddy, the man you love, Logan Thomas. Haven't seen an appearance of him this season yet. Anyone who isn't watching, Rich's eyebrows
twitching.
Down, twitching.
Yeah. So he's a guy. As soon as I had, as I said before, I'm targeting the Falcons. So
you mean like everyone targeted the Giants last week?
I'd rather target the Falcons because they just have no playmakers. Like it's sad.
Plus, if with the Washington defense being so bad against the pass, it could, and the Falcons defense just being the Falcons defense, there is kind of shootout potential-ish. At least
there's always a chance.
I know there's always a chance, but these defenses have been garbage.
Yeah.
I think you could throw for 240 and 3 touchdowns against the Falcons, and I could do the same against the Redskins. So yeah, if you're looking for quarterbacks, give us a call. We're always available.
I am not available.
Lies. My wide receiver one, I don't think there's any point getting off this train. Is Cooper Kupp. 7,800 going up against the Cardinals. I think the only word you can say about Cooper Kupp so far this season is phenomenal. I think he scored 2 touchdowns in every game, I think, so far. No, sorry, I'm overdoing it. He scored 1 in week 1, but he scored 2 in the last 2. But he seems to be, he is Stafford's best, most reliable target. He looks for him. And it always pays off. Cooper Kupp always finds space, always separates, always makes DBs look stupid. They're going up against the Cardinals defense, who, again, as I've said, I don't think are that great. This game has shootout potential. Kyler Murray going up against the Rams D should be interesting. But yeah, Cooper Kupp, I don't see it stopping anytime soon. So if he could do similar to last week, I don't know, like 9 for 96 and 2 and smash out 30 plus fantasy DK points, everyone's happy. I do think he's going to be fairly highly owned though. But I'm happy to eat it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to eat that. 1 week will be Robert Woods week. We know that. We know it will. 1 week.
Yeah.
Who's your wide receiver 2, mate?
Odell Beckham Jr.
Okay, like it.
Yep. I think this is probably the last week that you'll maybe be able to get him low owned.
Yeah.
Cleveland don't have a lot of fit receivers, and Minnesota's defense is not all that great at all. Beckham looked good when he was out on the field last week.
He did, which is good to see.
Missed actually another catch where he couldn't get his feet down right on the sideline. So
it was close.
It was close, but he couldn't get his feet down. So his box score could have been even better. So against Minnesota, I think that game will be good because you got the Browns defense is solid, but the Vikings offense is really good, and I think as a result, the Browns offense will have to be firing.
I think a lot of this will be, it sounds such a cliche, it'll be one in the trenches. I think the D line of the Vikings will be able to get after Beckham, but the Browns O line is really quite good. So that's going to be a really interesting battle. But yeah, OBJ looked really, really good. It was nice to see him to kind of
get back.
Yeah, play.
Yeah. On the field.
It's been long enough, mate. It's been long enough. My wide receiver 2, I'm stacking with Josh Allen. I'm not going with Stephon Diggs.
No, you're going with the person you should go with.
Which is?
Cole Beasley.
Yes. You know me too well.
It's the guy that you should go with.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I'll let you explain why, and I'll probably add to it.
Yeah. He's 5,400. I don't want to spend up with Diggs because this has looked all right. It doesn't look like it's clicked so far this year. It could quite easily do it against the Texans this week, but I think Beasley is on route to another good game. 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's seen at least 12 targets. Last week, he saw 13 targets, 11 receptions for 98. He didn't score a touchdown, but still gave you 20 DK points. as I said with Allen, that they try not to run the ball. They want to pass the ball. Beasley is a safe pair of hands, and at that price, I really. It helps to be able to stack it, get a wide receiver who will give you a very solid floor with. It's not going to be sky high upside, but the upside is there enough to get value on the price of 5,400. So stacking Allen and Beasley for basically 13,400. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, I looked at Emmanuel Sanders. He's looked all right. Is it a bit flash in the panny? I think they're going to throw the ball. You want one of the wide receivers. I think Beasley gives the best value there at 5,400 for me anyway. So you tell me your thoughts on Cole Beasley.
Okay, so
Beasley
is
anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, that's the only bit I don't like about him, to be honest. Slot receiver, fantastic for PPR. The way that they use him in the red zone, I've seen some people say that Emmanuel Sanders is the red zone weapon in Buffalo. He really isn't. He's been historically used in the red zone. He's not been used in Buffalo. In fact, he has the same number of red zone touches as Dawson Knox.
Yeah,
and
it is not. But who might I add is potentially another good player to stack with Allen if you wanted to. He's minimum of 8 DK points each week so far.
But we're talking he's had 2 targets this season in the red zone. Cole Beasley had more than that last game. So the leading receiver for the team in red zone opportunities is Cole Beasley, and as we know, red zone is kind of where it matters because you want the opportunity to score points, and the way you can do that is with a single touchdown.
And the Bills are going to be in the red zone pretty much every 5 minutes.
Yeah. So we're talking. So Emmanuel Sanders has had 2. I'm using at KingFantasySports.com. We've got a red zone tool, which will list out the opportunities in terms of rushing attempts and targets, and tell you percentage of the total of how many opportunities that players have. Yeah. So Emmanuel Sanders has had fewer red zone opportunities than Reggie Gilliam.
Isn't he the backup running back or fullback?
He's so he's listed as a tight end, and Emmanuel Sanders has had 1 more touch than Jake Kumrow.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers' favourite ex-Green Bay player.
But Cole Beasley had 5 targets in the red zone last week, and I can't see why that. He
gets separation, and when you've got space, you can get the ball.
He might be an anti-vaxxer, but he's all about keeping social distance.
He's the kind of person. He's an anti-vaxxer, but he's also the kind of person that would go and fill up like 87 jerry cans worth of fuel if he lived over here. Not because he needed it, just because he was a prick.
Jamie, I really feel like you missed out my joke there, so I'm just going to say it again.
Oh.
He might be an anti-vaxxer, but he does believe in social distancing because he gets separation. Just to explain it to all of the listeners. Yeah, that was bad. Let's move on. It was worse because I repeated it.
The fact that you repeated it, and then the fact that you had to explain.
Look, it was every bit as bad as I thought it might be.
I'm giving you a hug over Zoom.
Right, if anyone enjoyed that joke, please comment that you enjoyed that joke so that I can come up with more of that jokes and tell Jamie that they're much appreciated.
Please do. Who's your wide receiver 3?
My wide receiver 3 is where it's gone. I've gone for. I'm going to go back to the well. Rondale Moore. Didn't really have a good game last time out.
Rich. Let's put it how it is. Shit the bed last week. 2 points, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't good. I can't say it was 2 points, but yeah, it wasn't good. AJ Green had a game last week, right?
He's been all right the last couple of weeks. In fairness,
yeah, but he had a game last week. I think this week against the Rams, I think you might find that the space isn't as there as it was.
Plentiful.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to just go, "Hey, I'm right over here." I think which to me leads to tighter defenses, which leads to more opportunities for Rondale Moore, who has, we spoke last week, he can find space in the phone box with the Michelin Man. Like he can just find a gap and go for it. So, I think at 4,600, he is a bit of a risk, but he is probably worth it.
Huge upside. Huge upside. Love it.
Yeah.
I love Rondale Moore. My wide receiver 3 is a wide receiver who you love. Tell us who it is, Rich.
Team?
No. What wide receiver do you love?
Is it Michael Pittman?
It's Michael Pittman.
Okay. When you said when you kind of implied I don't need to tell you the team, I was like, yeah, it's Michael Pittman.
Yeah, I'm going with Michael Pittman. I'm kind of purely going on the fact that how many targets he is seeing. They might not all be very good ones from Carson Wentz, but the last 2 weeks he's seen 12 targets each week, 8 receptions and 6 receptions, and 123 yards and 68 yards, 0 touchdowns though. If he continues to see 12 plus targets a week, I'm going to continue to be interested in wanting to play him. So, like last week, he had 13 DK points. I think that's probably 10 is probably his floor. If he's going to catch half of them.
Yeah, with that target share, definitely.
Yeah. And what's the upside? 2 of them he catches for a touchdown if Carson Wentz gets lucky with throwing one or 2 of the balls. They get up against Miami. Miami defense kind of got a bit shredded by Derek Carr, but everyone's been shredded by Derek Carr and the Raiders. But yeah, 12 targets last 2 weeks. Carson Wentz is on his 2 dodgy ankles. Is just gonna. He kind of just zones in on Pittman, and it confuses me because I quite like Paris Campbell. I like Paris Campbell. I liked him coming out last year before the injury, and also start this year. I thought, okay, he's healthy. It's like Carson Wentz doesn't even see anyone else. It's kind of like, right, snap. Oh, there's Pittman. Yeah, he's running. Yeah. He's good. Now I'm going to throw it to him. Give me 12 targets a week. Give me under 5,500. I'm eating that up all day. I'm surprised you haven't got Pittman in your team, seeing as you love him.
Yeah, I know. I've actually got Zach Pascal as my flex, so I'll transition to that just really quickly, and then we can go back.
Okay.
The reason why I went Zach Pascal is actually because he's getting the red zone looks.
Yeah.
With the way that I spent up for Derrick Henry and Terry McLaurin and some, those guys, I need to make some type of savings, and I thought that Zach Pascal 4,500. With the way that he's getting used in the red zone, I think we can see some.
How many red zones? What's the red zone target share in these things? You've got it up from your sheet on kingfantasysports.com.
Thanks for the plug. He's had 21% of the team opportunities within the red zone.
What about Pittman and Doyle?
Pittman and Doyle actually combine for the same number. So Pittman has had 4, Doyle has had 3, Zach Pascal has had 7.
So Pittman's about what, 13%?
12.
Yeah. Pascal is I've always thought he's been slightly underrated.
He's just one of those guys who's
solid.
He's very inconsistent though for fantasy. He's one of those players who is a real life asset for the Colts.
It's like Mo Sanu
Yes,
when he was at the Falcons.
Exactly that. Real life, fantastic. Fantasy, not so much. That's the player he is. But with the way that they're using him in the red zone, that's who I opted for in my flex. I just thought I'd add on to that for the similar reasons against Miami. Miami are Miami. It seems like they need to get some kind of way to get their defense back on board. But with the Colts this week and then Tampa Bay next week, I think it might wait until the Jags in UK.
Yeah, that might be the week.
Until they get back.
Might be the week. Okay, what wide receivers were you interested in that kind of tickled your fancy this week?
So the other guys I thought about were I did think about Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
But he's quite expensive. I also thought about Darnell Mooney.
What's his price?
3,900. He's not boomed yet. The issue that I didn't go with that is because I don't know who the QB is.
And I don't get mad to see the second QB is.
As I said,
no one's gonna have time.
Well, as I said earlier, I'm not really too sure. Either way, if I'm happy or not. I did also consider Robert Woods because I think at some point we are going to see the Robert Woods game.
Is this kind of, are people going to start saying this, going, it's Robert Woods week, similar to how people were going, it's got to be a DK Metcalf week this week?
In fairness, if you said that last week, you were absolutely right.
I know, but if you said it the week before, you weren't.
No, but I mean, at some point,
he's too good.
He's not putting the physical output that you'd expect. In fact, Lewis, one of the writers at King Fantasy Sports, put out an article which I made live today about Robert Woods and what you should be expecting from him going forwards. So I considered him, but ultimately I didn't. I felt like I wanted Odell Beckham a bit more.
Yeah, no, I can understand that, mate. I can understand that. I considered Marquise Brown 5,400 going up against Denver. I think his ownership might be lower than what it should be due to everyone remembering that he basically dropped 2 or 3 touchdown passes against the Lions. He's played really well. He's looked good. I thought 5,400 was interesting. I consider Christian Kirk 5,300. A bit more going up against the Rams, the Cardinals. He's a bit more than Rondale Moore. But I look at the wide receivers at the Cardinals and I go, okay, you've got Hopkins, you've got Green, you've got Kirk, and you've got Moore. I don't think at any given week you can confidently go, it's their week. It's Hopkins' week this week, or it's Kirk's week. I think it's kind of Murray's going to spread the ball around, and you've kind of just got to hope that one of them bangs a touchdown. And Kirk has kind of been that deep threat for them, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's been the deep threat for them. So yeah, I consider him at 5,300, and Tim Patrick 4,900 going against Baltimore for the Broncos. Broncos D hasn't looked great. No KJ Hamler out for the season. Judy's out. It's Tim Patrick season. And I've been saying this for literally the last couple of years. It's always Tim Patrick season. So you basically got Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, who's only, I don't think last year he dropped 1 ball at all the whole season. I think he's dropped 1 this year, so big disappointment. And Noah Fant and the 2 running backs. That's really kind of all Teddy's got to play with. The interesting thing last week was 2 weeks ago, Sutton was kind of more of the deeper throws. Patrick was more the intermediate throws, and they switched over last week. So Patrick, I think 3 of his receptions, I think he only had 4 receptions, 4 or 5, were of 20. 3 of them were of 20 plus yards. So that was interesting that they've switched it up a bit. While everyone's injured, Patrick is cemented in in the Denver offense and Denver wide receiving core easily, probably as the wide receiver 1B, because I think there's not going to be a huge amount between him and Sutton. So I think 4,900 to go up against Baltimore is, I do quite like it, but I do like Tim Patrick. We know that. Who's a tight end, buddy?
Making a return to the show is our friend Logan Thomas. As I said, with spoken a few times, this Washington offense isn't difficult to work out through the passing game. It's literally Terry McLaurin and Logan Thomas. So I've managed to find a way to get them both in my team.
You got a touchdown last week.
Yeah, he did. So yeah, pretty much in the bag. Tight end 1 for the rest of the season, I'm pretty sure. Logan Thomas is like Pringles, once you pop, can't stop. And PPR machine. So it doesn't always have to be a big thought and doesn't have to be difficult. With Heineke, and I thought, well, go for the duo of receivers that he targets. Let's go.
My tight end is Gerald Everett, 3,200 for the Seahawks, going up against the 49ers. I know. I've literally just seen it. I've literally just seen the Seahawks have placed Gerald Everett on the reserve COVID-19 list.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I was just about to say that.
So keep an eye out for Gerald Everett and see if you're interested in him, just to see if he has his 2 negative tests and he can play.
It depends if he was a positive test or if he's a direct contact.
Exactly, we don't know that.
I've not seen it yet. But early reports is that he is likely to miss Sunday's game.
Okay. So now I'm going to have to change this on the fly.
Yep, no pressure.
Okay. So I could go with Will Disley, who's 2,600. So that would save me 600. But then I might want to change my flex. Do you know what? I'm not going to go with Will Disley. I'm going to keep Everett in for the moment and wait. But the 2 that I will consider pivoting to will be at the price. Will Disley, who's 2,600, who will basically take over all the tight end snaps in Seattle, going up against the 49ers. And the 49ers Seattle games are usually really, really good. So the reason I never is I expected him to be used a bit. So I could quite happily pivot to Disley at 2,600. So it's either going to be pivot to Disley or pivot to Pat Fryermuth, 3,100 for the Steelers going up against the Packers at Lambeau. You've got no Juju, you've got no Deontay. So it's basically Fryermuth, Ebron, King Eric, Najee, and Chase Claypool. Big Ben can't throw them deep. He doesn't have the time to throw them deep. Fryermuth is going to be near the line of scrimmage. You might see 5 targets, 4 receptions, 50 odd yards. At that price, I'll take it at 3,100. But yeah, at the moment, I'll stick with Everett. But if he is out, I pivot to a Pat Fryermuth or a Will Disley. Titans that you considered, mate. Other ones.
Ironically, Pat Fryermuth, who you're just talking up, he was one of the guys that I considered.
Yep.
Tyler Conklin was another that I considered, 3,500. Had a career game last time out. So with how they used him in and around the red zone, especially, there's something really to consider. That was kind of it. Like for me, I was kind of locked in with Thomas because you know my love for Thomas. As soon as that opportunity for a stack came in, I was like,
smashing that.
What more do I need in my life?
Other tight ends, I consider two others. And the reason that I didn't say them in the piece to replace Everett was price, because I don't particularly want to change my flex either. I consider Pitts 5,000 at Washington. I'm kind of unsure what to say about this, whether or not the defenses are actually trying to take Pitts out of the game, or Arthur Smith is trying not to use him. So my head is telling me to go with the defense is actually trying to take Pitts out of the game. I think the Falcons are going to have to throw the ball. I'm not going to say Pitts is going to score a touchdown, but it's going to be a week where Pitts shows what Kyle Pitts is.
Yeah.
And going to get up against the funnel of a defense of the Redskins, passing wise, is a good opportunity. The other guy that I was interested in, who I did try and fit in, but I just couldn't, was Mike Gesicki from Miami, going up against Indianapolis. While Jacoby Brissett's in at quarterback for the Dolphins, Mike Gesicki should really be right near the top of most people's list. It's like Tua, week 1 with Tua, 3 targets, 0 receptions. Week 2 in a blowout to Buffalo with Brissett for most of the game. 6 targets, 3 receptions. And then last week against the Raiders, 12 targets, 10 receptions for 86. That's what we want to see for Gesicki, because Gesicki he's a good tight end. He's athletic, he's got good hands, and he's a big body, good for the end zone as well. He can create a fair bit of separation. I think 4,000 is potentially undervaluing him. I don't know whether. I think he will be. Do you think he'll be fairly popular?
It's hard to tell with him because he's quite polarizing.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't have him because I'm of the opinion that he's not actually that good.
Oh, okay.
But I could see why people do, because for me, he's just massively inconsistent.
With Tua.
He's just massively inconsistent. Full stop. In games last season where you thought he would smash, or the season before, didn't do it. Games where you thought it might be difficult, he'd show ability, and you'd go, oh, okay, well, I'll put him on my team. So,
how many tight ends can you name that you are confidently consistent that they are consistent? Kelsey, Waller, any more?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But I guess for me, the difficulty is the consistency of inconsistency.
I know what you mean.
Typically,
I understand where you come from.
A tight end is going to be effective against certain defenses and worse against others. Gesicki seemed to almost go against that trend. So it was almost like, this makes no sense for him to be good in this matchup. Play him then.
As I said, one of the main reasons I was seriously considering Gesicki was Jacoby Brissett. Tua's got a better arm than Brissett. Brissett seems to like those short to intermediate passes, and that's kind of where Gesicki lives. So I'm not saying you're going to get another 12 targets and 10 receptions this week, but I think you're going to get a bare minimum of 6 targets this week. This is. I really want to say this is a Jacoby Brissett tweet, but it's not a tweet. This is a Jacoby Brissett suggestion. Who's your flex, mate?
Zach Pascal mentioned it earlier.
Oh yes, you did. I've got to find mine. So yeah, if you weren't listening earlier, then tough tease because we're not going to talk about it. I've gone with Olamide Zaccheaus, Falcons wide receiver, 4,100 against Washington. I wanted some Falcons in this just because of the Washington pass defense. Gage is out. Pitts hasn't shown what Pitts can do yet. I don't think we're going to be able to run the ball against the Redskins. So yeah, I'm doubling up on Falcons this week with Cordarrelle Patterson and Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus last week, 6 targets, 3 receptions, 30 yards and a touchdown. Gives you a nice 12.2 points, and I will take that again this week. Thank you very much. Ryan spreads the ball around. Yes, Ridley is the main guy. Pitts is probably number 2, but the amount of times which he's throwing the ball 35, 38 times a game. The wide receiver 2 on the Falcons, Zacchaeus, or could be Christian Blake, could be Tashi Sharp. This is what I mean. We spread the ball around, but at 4,100, I want a bit of this. I think he's got big upside play because he can. There's been a couple of times where Ryan has found him with a very deep pass last year for touchdowns. So, so the floor's not great, but the upside I think is fairly nice. Who's your defense, mate?
Colts.
Yeah, I've gone with the Colts as well, 2,700 against Miami.
Reason being, the only defense I felt comfortable playing that were in a lower price bracket. So I'm not gonna overanalyze it. That was literally the reason.
Exactly. No, I'm not gonna lie. That was exactly my thoughts as well. I did start at the bottom, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I literally did the exact same.
Okay, yes, the Colts 2,700 going up against Miami. Did you leave any money on the table?
I think I've got 100 left.
Same as me. Left 100 as a tip.
Yeah, little cheap, don't need to spend it all, do you?
No, do not. I will. I'll put our teams at the back end of this video so everyone can see them. Rich, where can we find you on the socials again? Just in case people weren't listening to start with.
kfancy_sports, and the website is kingfantasysports.com.
Awesome.
If you haven't checked it out, check out the Red Zone tool. We've mentioned it a few times during this episode. It's really handy.
It is. I didn't say where people can find me on the socials earlier, so I might as well tell them now. At Jamie_Byrom, BYIOM_, or at seasonlong DFS. I quite like your team, Rich.
I quite like it too. I think I'm going to become a millionaire with it. So,
I've won the last 2 weeks GPP, so you need to beat me first. But then fair enough. But you've been beating me on the cash, so kind of seeing where we're better than the other. Thank you for joining me.
Welcome.
It's been a pleasure. I was trying to beat you to it. We will be back later in the week with the Main Slate Mashup show Cash Edition, where if the history is correct, Rich's lineup will probably beat mine again. I'm going to try and beat you again this week, mate. Could you let me win this week? Just just forget to put your lineup in.
Okay, yeah, I'll do it.
And that really boosts my spirits. Watch out for that later on in the week. I shall see you then, Rich. It's been a pleasure.